Recently, I spoke at a conference called Reclaiming Canada. It had like minded people who have lived through the last 3 or so years who shared their stories and how they fought against it, pushed against it, and the way forward. What I noticed in the audience is I would say the vast majority of people were people that believed in God, and the majority of those were Christian evangelicals. So they had a strong faith based system. So, why was it that the people of faith were the ones who pushed against the madness more than secular people, more than atheists, more, and not to say there weren't atheists in the crowd, there were some, and some spiritualists, but predominantly it was the people of faith that pushed against it. Now, for those of you who watch my videos, you know I'm a Christian and I'm always open and I share kind of concepts and it informs who and what I am. So, as a Christian and also of someone who came from a different country, I'm originally from India, I'm skeptical in nature. So I have a mistrust of government. In India, openly, people have a mistrust of government because the politicians there will tell you we're corrupt. They're very open about it. So you know what their agendas are. But as a Christian, I also place God above government. I know that God is who I ultimately serve and bend a knee to, and that government is just simply composed of men and women who are flawed. And the Bible tells me that the heart is wicked above all things. So, how could people that are imperfect and wicked rule in a just way? Well, it's obviously very hard, especially if they don't have a God to inform them, and the only thing they believe in is what they believe in. So, right away from the start, when all this madness began, I was skeptical, doubly, like I said, because I'm an immigrant and also because I'm a Christian. It kind of was a double whammy for me. And it allowed me to kind of look at each thing objectively because I didn't put all my faith in government. I wasn't expecting them to be my saviors. The other thing my faith did is it allowed me through the battle to be a joyful warrior. Now, that's not to say that I was always happy during the last 3 years and there weren't moments of some hopelessness and despair. No, that happens for everybody. But as a Christian, I know how the story ends. God has the ultimate victory over the devil. That's it. He wins, he rules. And I know that based on that, no matter what Justin Trudeau was doing, whatever Joe Biden did, or whatever any politician did, it was nothing. They're nothing in comparison to my God. It says in the Bible that God scoffs and laughs at the plans of kings of the earth. So who's Justin Trudeau in relation to the God that I serve? He's nobody. He's a piece of crap. So I know how the victory ends. And it made it easier to fight along the way when there's setbacks. Because again, it won't matter. I'm not the one who has to carry everything across the finish line. I know God does that. He's just using me as an instrument along the way. So that really helped. The other thing that having faith is really useful for, I believe, and I think why it's important for people, is it gives you, especially those of you who are parents, and your kids, something to believe in beyond you. I mean, let's face it, when your kids are small, they think of you like a god anyway. And then by the time they hit 13, they know better than you and you're just some kind of dummy. Well, that's how it's portrayed anyway. So bottom line is, when you're gone, because one day you'll pass away, who will your kids turn to for answers and direction? Well, if you're a secularist and you have no belief in God, then more than likely it's going to be government. And based on the last 3 years especially, is that who you want your kids to put their faith in? Is that who you want them to be enslaved to? Now, some of you out there will be saying, well, this God thing, it's a bit of a fairy tale. And you really, why do you believe in it? Well, let's pretend that it is a fairy tale. And at the end of the day, I'm wrong. There is no God. What was the net result of me following that path? Well, for me anyway, it's allowed me to be a better human being. I do less bad stuff. I mean, not to say I don't do bad stuff, but I'm generally better than I used to be. So at the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, when it's all over, the worst that I did is I lived a better life. So be it. Okay. And if I turn out to be right, well, there's, eternal implications of that. And especially when it comes to my kids, I would rather have a legacy when I'm gone that they have something outside of government to believe in, because we know how that turns out. I would rather have them put their faith in a God who they feel is out for their best interest and who will help them through the trials and tribulations as something they can turn to during those hard times. That makes me feel a lot better knowing that they're in good hands when I'm gone. So those are the ways that faith has helped me along the way. Now, I'm not saying it's for everyone. Hey, it's your choice. But I can assure you that having a faith and having a God to be connected to is what's going to help you survive the insanity. Because don't kid yourself, we're certainly not out of it. We're going to face more turbulent times. That's what life promises. It's not all a bowl of cherries and it's joy and everything is just wonderful. And that's the other mythology people have about God, that he's some big genie in the sky or he's some teddy bear. You make a wish and he just gives you everything. That's not how it works, folks. The idea is that God doesn't take away your pain, suffering, or misery, but he's along the journey with you, supporting you through it. That's really the whole goal of it. It isn't, like I said, it isn't where he's just giving you stuff and it's your, best life now and you're just going to have wealth and happiness. That's not a God that is real. That is a God that man would like, because that's what men and women want. They want a life without pain and suffering. And we've seen that when the majority of our fellow citizens want to live that way, how that turns out when nobody speaks out because nobody wants to lose or sacrifice anything that they have. We are living among selfish people because at times we're selfish, and it is only God who convicts us of that and that pushes us to be better. Anyway, those are my opinions. You're welcome to share yours. I would love to have them. Follow me on my Rumble, on my Locals account. You can also, like I said, check out some of my past videos, and I will see you next time, God willing.